Welcome. This is Gail Andersen. This is Mentoring Moments for Moms. I know this is a very odd time, so if you are catching me live, congratulations. I am out in LA, and of course the time is, what, maybe 6:30, something like that?
Probably later than that. I'm on New York time, so I don't know.
Very dependent on my son and his time schedule. He's been traveling, and hopefully, hi Kirsten, hopefully you've been able to catch some of our Nana Camp scopes the last few days. I've been having Nana Camp with the 4 grandkids and having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Great to have you on, Lindsay. Glad you're here. And if you're watching as a replay viewer, thank you. It's really nice that you're picking us up. I've got my scopes on Periscope. They're all being saved, or you can go to YouTube and just search Mentoring Moments for Moms. If you like what we're talking about tonight, make sure you tap on the screen, give me some hearts, and if you want to share this broadcast, swipe to the right. You guys know the drill. So tonight, actually, I thought about a month ago that I would start interviewing some of my kids, because you hear me talking all the time about the things that I did or didn't do or learned from my child development training, but I wanted you to hear from my kids, some of the things they liked, some of the things they didn't like, what it was like living in the Andersen family. I tell you what, the proof is in the pudding, or the proof of the pudding is in the eating, for sure. So, Josh is here tonight. I've asked him to talk about a couple of different things. Josh is my oldest son. He was not quite 7 years old when our twins were born, so we had 5 babies at that time. And I always felt like Josh had to totally grow up and be very responsible at that time. So I just want him to address tonight what it was like being the oldest in a family of 5 kids and in our family.
First, thanks for letting me do this.
Yeah,
I think
awesome.
You're amazing. Thanks for doing Nana Camp for my kids this week so that
Fun.
I could go with my wife and have a few days away. A little bit of peace goes a long way when you have 4 kids. So, thanks for sharing this. So as far as like being the oldest is concerned, I never felt like there was really any drawbacks to it. I never felt gypped. I never felt like there was, I didn't feel like I was kind of got the short end of the stick at all. We just, I think so much of parenting is about giving your kids perspective. And one of the things I feel like you and Dad did so well was you kind of framed our experience. You framed for us, I think, just the way we should approach our life as a family, in a big family. See it as a blessing, see it as exciting, see it as fun, not as, kind of a raw deal. And so I think the perspective was a huge part of that.
If anybody, any of the kids in our family had to work, it was Josh. I mean, I remember when when I was pregnant with the twins, he would actually ask if he could stay up from nap time. And he would start making a salad for dinner. He would do different things to clean up the house. And I always felt
I think I just
bad.
hated naps.
Well, I guess, but I mean, 6 years old, and here he is doing this stuff.
Whatever it took.
And I was exhausted with the twins for the first part of that pregnancy. I was nursing Jessie still, so it was a real busy time. And
I think too, knowing firstborn tendencies, they're parent pleasers. I think beyond that, a little bit of my personality, just in general, I'm fairly self-motivated. I feel like I like the satisfaction, the reward of doing well, performing well. That can have a dark side, but I think that's probably some of where that came from, as well, just kind of pursuing that, working to help in the family feel like I was actually doing something. And I would say you kind of spoke my language in that area, in that you guys were always so good about having great little just rewards or little systems for, like, whether star charts when we were really little, bonus points, things as we got older, that also created that incentive. It kind of, I think, drove that a little further. So it was a huge part of it.
Well, he had no choice. He had to step in and do what needed to be done. And that's part of what I do during Nana Camp, is set up enough systems and enough good rewards for the kids. I mean, above and beyond what a mom and dad would do, because I needed help. I couldn't just do this Nana Camp completely on my own. So that was good. Now, we homeschooled the entire time.
Yeah, amazing.
And just really, really wanting to know. I mean, right now you've been in ministry almost the whole time you've had a job.
Oh, yeah.
Everything you've done.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how did you actually find your gifts and callings? What did we do in the family that helped you? How did you discover where you were going?
I'll start kind of broad on that. For something you were just talking about, about having a big family and the need for just help around that. I think family is such a great picture, a preparation stage for life. I mean, if you think about it, the things that you learn, if done well at home, in a family dynamic, kind of is in a lot of ways a preparation for all the other relational dynamics that you're going to have in life. So, for example, you have to get used to sharing maybe a room with a brother or sister. You're going to have a roommate at some point.
Or two, brother.
Or two, yeah, whatever. And but if you're going to have roommates down the road, you got to learn how to share space. How to take care of your stuff, clean things up. I think being willing to help, in a situation, serving the good of the whole rather than just what's in this for me.
That's right.
I think obviously you learn about respect and authority with parents, as whether that's, boss in the future, coach in the future, teacher in the future, authority figure, whatever it might be. And I think you guys did a good job, for us in that way, and that we got a lot of practice, for down the road. Now, so generally we started finding ourselves, and how to just navigate life through the family dynamic. But I would say specifically there were a couple things that I remember. I remember going a couple years ago, we were moving, and I was going through a box of stuff I think you just saved and had given me, and I was going back through it, and I pulled out it's like an old personality profile. It was or spiritual gifts test or something. And what was amazing? I don't remember taking this. I was probably 11 or 12 maybe at most when you had us take that. Would have been
at Miller Road.
Yeah. And I was shocked though as I read through it, and now knowing where I was, here I was in my young 30s at that point, and to have seen what I was involved in, to see what I was currently doing, just in ministry and just my pursuits personally. I was shocked at how, even at that stage of my life, how true those things sort of proved out. Right. I had no idea, it wasn't I knew this, but as I was going back through, and I thought, how cool that you did this, for us, because I'm sure that whether or not I have a direct memory or I would say that directly affected my decisions, I know just as a byproduct of doing it, it shaped me. It helped me understand who I was. It helped me understand the things maybe God had put in me. And so I think you guys were very intentional. You and Dad both were. I think intentional is the key word. And to kind of create those moments, create spaces for us to discover those things. I find this with my own kids now. I think so much of parenting is passing experiences in front of your kids and seeing what sticks, right? So whether that's letting them take some lessons, whether that's letting them try, different sports, or and even getting a job at certain points. I mean, you let us start working, and we're 13, 14, learning how to do that outside of just. Actually, probably younger than that. I remember doing things.
You were doing the baling hay and picking rocks in the fields when you were probably 11.
Right. And look at me now.
You can do all those things.
So anyways, being able to do that, I think, was so huge for us. I remember you let us take gymnastics one year, which, if you know me, I mean, if you look at my body, gymnastics is the last thing I should be doing. And yet, you kind of helped me discover, okay, in doing this, it was fun, it was cool, we tried it, and yet, that's not for me. And so it whittles down maybe a bigger, a bigger set of options. And then there were other things that you were very intentional. You and Dad were always very intentional to get us into situations, to get us into spaces where we had a chance to see what came out of us. And I think sometimes, as a parent, there are things you see in your kid, but then there are times where they get in settings or in other situations and stuff comes out, other people draw it out, and you can help guide and navigate
Exactly.
that. So I think both those things, intentional and something like, man, just little moments like taking a personality test or having conversations or writing assignments. But then I think in addition to just kind of getting us into these situations where we were able to see like, hey, do I like this? Is this great? Is this fun? Is this me? And I think that was huge, for us. So
yeah, I loved being able to let you have the experiences like when you went to the creative arts design place, the advertising place.
Yeah,
you did a shadowing there. And
yeah.
I think you decided, not quite. You don't mind the business part of it, but not quite. But my dad will always say that he remembers you at 5 or 6 years old, standing up on who knows what, some kind of platform with a Bible, talking to the brothers and sisters, just pretty much speaking to them. And it was hilarious. And I do remember your first, you did a lot of children's church programs at Christmas, where you always had a starring role in those. But when it came to when it came to drama,
so ridiculous.
You were probably 13 or 14, and you were up behind the pulpit doing a drama before the sermon by yourself, and it was awesome. I still have that on video, which is wonderful.
Which is amazing. We have iPhones and way easier ways of capturing video today. You guys, I still feel like I'm playing catch up there. You guys were so good about catching those moments for us. Yeah,
it was a lot more work than it is right now, that is for sure. But I love to see the good things that we did in parenting. We didn't do everything right, of course. We know the mistakes we made, but I like the way I can see in his family how he's carrying out some of those same things, and able to see that in our grandkids and reinforce that, and it's just very rewarding. But also want to let you know that this Tuesday, hey there, Jessica Fosse, I will be interviewing my son Jesse. He has some specific things about life in the big family that he wants to talk about.
He's got some stories.
Oh my gosh, when I just approached him with that, he's like, yes, and this is what I'm talking about. He had outlined 1, 2, 3, so I'm not even having to come up with things that they want to talk about. It's very nice to be able to do that.
He's amazing, and he'll have some pretty good things to say, just because, with his he's really astute when it comes to personality profiles. He's been trained in that and understands some of the dynamic of that stuff, and so I'll be curious to see what he has to say.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Josh just had to squash this in between the trip to New York and a big day all day at church tomorrow, and just very blessed that he was able to be on and give you guys some input. So hope you'll let other people know about Mentoring Moments for Moms. We enjoy having you jump on, and I enjoy hearing from you. In the profile is my email, and you can email me with questions. You are so welcome. And thank you for joining at such an odd time. I'm sure it's late on the East Coast and a little bit late in Central Time, but thank you again for joining us.
And I'm just going to say, I think you're amazing. And I think you're the best. And I'm just going to say it publicly here. I just would say thanks for all you did to help us, me and the other 4, cool. Just through this. This is not just something that makes a great conversation on Periscope. This was like real life.
Awesome.
And years of putting into us kids. So love you. Thank you.
Love you too, son. Well, this is awesome, you guys. Thank you again for joining. And catch me live whenever you can. I'm on usually most of the time on weekdays, but catch me anytime. Tell your friends about us. And thank you all for listening. And again, enjoy the adventure of motherhood. It is an adventure, and the rewards are great. Sometimes they don't come until later on, like now, but the rewards are great. So enjoy it. Have a good